Hello, America. I'm Erick Erickson. These are the four things you need to know this afternoon, September 25th. Up first, Democrats say they will shut down the government unless the federal government expands health care benefits previously taken out of the federal budget. That includes health care benefits for illegal aliens. Democrats say it's more expansive than that, but this is what Republicans, including Vice President J.D. Vance, have hit on, that Democrats want to shut down the government in order to get funding for health care for illegal aliens. They will have the media helping the Democrats message this, but it's not going to help them when Russ Vought, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, engages in mass firings, not layoffs. See, what the Democrats say is that DOJ laid off a bunch of people and the government's hiring them back, so clearly there aren't going to be mass firings. What the Democrats have forgotten is that once the government shuts down at the end of the fiscal year and discretionary departments are no longer funded, well, the president can fire the people in those unfunded departments. When the hirings start again, they don't have to hire the people back because it's not a layoff, it's a firing. They can hire their people into the government, killing the deep state in the process. Democrats want to call the bluff. Republicans say, do it. New York is targeting a Department of Corrections employee at Rikers Island. The employee gave the federal government information about a couple of inmates at Rikers Island that turned out to be illegal aliens, helping the federal government arrange their deportation. Now, it appears that the Department of Corrections employee for the state of New York did not know he was violating the laws of the state of New York and of New York City related to sanctuary cities, and yet caused the deportation of illegal aliens. So consider this. New York City is targeting an employee for providing information to the federal government about a criminal at Rikers Island. And it's the employee for the Department of Corrections who is in trouble, not the criminal. This just feeds fuel to the fire that the GOP is right on immigration and the Democrats are out to lunch, and also shows just how progressive New York City is already becoming as Mamdani leads in the polls and is more than likely going to become the next mayor of New York City. Up next, the Justice Department is pushing prosecutors to investigate the Soros Foundation. George Soros' Ancient of Days has largely stepped aside for Alex Soros, his young son, to be in charge of the Soros Foundation, and even Alex Soros has had enough of some of the progressive groups out there like the Sunrise Foundation that's turned into a pro-Palestinian cause as opposed to the environmental group it was set up to be. But with the rise of violence on the progressive activist side, someone clearly providing resources to the Antifa activists, the federal government is pointing the finger at the Soros Foundation. Now, for Democrats who say this is a dangerous precedent, you should know that Republicans don't care because they believe that the Democrats have already been doing this through the IRS with both the Biden administration and the Obama administration. Lois Lerner famously denying conservative nonprofits tax-exempt status because they were Tea Party groups. In retrospect, the Inspector General saying it was improper and politically motivated. And did she get punished? No, she did not. The Republicans are just doing what they think the Democrats have already done in targeting the Soros Foundation. Now, I will say this, given the amount of money the Soros Foundation has and the level of competence we've seen thus far from Pam Bondi's Justice Department, he's probably going to be okay. Lastly, the European Union has privately communicated to the Russians that the European Union nations are now prepared to shoot down Russian jets and drones that enter EU airspace. This is not an escalation. The Russians say it's an escalation of provocation, but it's not. The escalation of provocation was the Russians continuing to send both manned jets and drones into EU airspace, thinking they could get away with it, harassing European nations. The EU has had enough of Russia's bullying and has decided they will begin shooting down jets that enter their airspace. Now, if this provokes a war, it's because Vladimir Putin decided to send jets into the airspace of sovereign nations as he continues to bully and escalate over the Ukrainian issue. Essentially, Vladimir Putin is probing the weaknesses and the unity of the EU, and the EU is presenting now a unified front. This leaves me wondering what Xi Jinping is looking at as the Russians escalate this. It's been well known for a while that Jinping, or Xi, President Xi of China, wishes the Russians would figure out a way to wind down the war themselves, even as there's greater Russian and Chinese cooperation around the world against the Western alliance. The European Union now saying they're kind of done taking it from the Russians and they're prepared to hit back. These are the four things you need to know this afternoon. I'm Erick Erickson. Stay informed, stay engaged, and above all else, please keep the faith.